That said, I think Republicans, would love to move on for the most part and talk about pretty much anything else at this point, I guess, with the exception of maybe Robert Mueller. But even that, I think it kind of is less upsetting to a lot of the country than these reports from Texas.
James, the president today said his action was preemptive, but would be backed by legislation, which is interesting on another point because he was against DACA, apparently because it was an executive action by President Obama. But that's a separate issue. The House will vote again tomorrow on another bill. Previous Republican efforts to pass comprehensive immigration bills have failed. So what makes them confident that they can get this through? And what happens if it gets to the Senate?
They're not confident that they can get this through. They currently don't have the votes. And the meeting where the president announced that he's going to be signing something later today, that was a meeting with people. The House Republican leadership gave a list to the White House and said, these are the people who are on the fence. These are people whose votes we need for this compromise immigration bill. Otherwise, it's going to fail. So the idea of bringing Trump to the Capitol last night and then bringing those lawmakers to the White House today was to try and twist some arms to get to 218 votes, which is how many they need to pass the bill. I think Paul Ryan has promised moderates that he's going to bring the bill up for a vote, an up or down vote, whether they have the support they need to get it to pass. And so there is some chance that it could still go down. Now, what's happened, interestingly, with this order, although, as I mentioned, it's nuanced, is this does take some pressure off of certain lawmakers who felt like they had to vote for something to show opposition to family separation. Now they won't feel that kind of same pressure. And in some ways, it takes away some of the leverage that the White House and leadership had to get certain Republicans to vote for the bill tomorrow.
Absolutely. James Hohmann, thank you for your time.
My pleasure.
American Airlines is telling the government not to use it to transport immigrant children torn from their families. The airline released a statement saying, quote, the family separation process that has been widely publicized is not at all aligned with the values of American Airlines. We bring families together, not apart. We have therefore requested the federal government to immediately refrain from using American for the purpose of transporting children who have been separated from their families. We have no desire to be associated with separating families or worse, to profit from it. The children were likely being booked on scheduled flights as regular passengers. They are likely around 12 years old and up. Some reports said they may have been as young as 6 years old. American Airlines disputes that. Coming up after a break, the president heads to Minnesota for a rally. We will look at why. Plus, tragedy in Indonesia after a ferry sinks with hundreds on board. You're streaming CBSN. 190 people are presumed drowned after a ferry sank on a Sumatran lake in Indonesia earlier this week. The boat was 5 times over its passenger capacity of 43 and equipped with only 45 life jackets. So far, only 18 survivors have been found. President Trump will hold 2 events in Minnesota tonight. He will participate in what's being billed as a round table on protecting American workers before holding a campaign-style rally in Duluth. The president lost Minnesota to Hillary Clinton in 2016 by nearly 45,000 votes. For more on this, let's bring in Mike Mulcahy. He is the political editor for Minnesota Public Radio News and joins me now from St. Paul, Minnesota. Mike, thanks for being with us. What can we expect the president to focus on in his rally tonight?